Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about self-organization and let's start with the definition.
Self-organization is a very funny story. So let's think about a room of a child. If we will come after several days without visiting it, we will find a lot of toys which are laying on the different shelves, sofas, floor, table, and so on. And if we will ask the child to collect it in a boxes or to put on the right places, we will suddenly realize that our room will become much more funny and fancy. The same with our thoughts. Everyone is thinking that they are perfect, but it is not true. If you will learn for several months in School of Troubleshooters, you will understand that for very first time you will be completely distressed. Then you will understand that you are not able to follow our speed. But after 6 months, you will work with the same speed as we, and after 1 year, you will find that you are smartest person in the room. This is about self-organization. You should first to reopen your calendar and put some additional jobs in it. For example, to learn, to read, to listen some, I don't know, courses. Second, you should exactly right conspects. If you are not put it down, you will forget, I don't know, maybe 85% of information up to the next morning. But if you are first day write a conspect, on the next day you will read it, and after you will пересказать, retell,
Repeat.
and after 1 day you will repeat it, you will see that all this information and knowledge as a bricks build a concrete wall.
And actually, you mentioned that you need to know what you're doing. Why? Does it takes actually to do some sort of like a goal setting, or at least understanding why do you need to be self-organized? Like for what exactly you're trying to build? I would say like a system inside of you, or maybe like instill it in your team or organization.
Yesterday I was talking with one very famous Russian actress. She is now like 90, correct? 90.
90.
She has a very smart brain, clear eyes, and very distinctive speech. And I was talking to her, and suddenly she told me, "Why you are not doing something?" And I say, "I hope to do it in 2 or 3 years." And suddenly she repeat, the main mistake of my life, I always was thinking that everything is впереди, behind, ahead of me. But now I am 90 and I have the same paradigm of thinking, but everything is already behind. And I was thinking, wow, how cool this advice. So this is not about goal. You should think not about goal, because not all goals could be achieved. You should think that you have too few time, too less time.
Not so much time.
Not so much time. And it's a pity, because everyone was thinking, okay, now I'm clever guy or girl, I have my salary, I have chances to visit any countries, I have chance to buy plane tickets and so on. But after several years you realize, okay, I am 5 years older and nothing changed in my life. Everyone at age 20 or 25 think, I will become a president of the country. I will live in a very nice house. I will have a beautiful family, and I will have a picturesque car. I will have gold watches and everything. I don't know what other people imagine, but it was my dream. But after several years, I realized nothing happened. I am just getting older.
And I guess it's I probably could relate to this. It's one of the skills you actually said, like if you set like set a goal, but like you need to think what is in between. Like for example, you want to visit 100 countries. Like if you put it on the like Excel spreadsheet, like how many countries you need to visit, like maybe every month or whatever. So when you do it like in a perspective, or when you want to achieve like $1 million or whatever, like it's not gonna appear on the specific day. You need to work towards it, and you need to do some sort of like a calculation. My next question actually will be, so if you consider self-organization as the, like something that you have inside of yourself, but how it starts, like what exactly kind of procedures, what exactly the mindset you need to have, and what other moving parts that you need to be aware of and hire for yourself to actually do the job for you?
Nice words. You know, I will tell you a story. I was on one training, and suddenly one trainer, when we were having one-to-one meeting, he was trying to teach me, you have done nothing in your life and so on. And suddenly I was thinking, why I am just listening to this bullshit? And I was telling, have already created several antiviruses, hackers editor, data archiver. I already author of 2 books and so on. And suddenly I saw this man, and he was completely astonished. And suddenly he was sitting and saying for me, okay, let's do this session for me. And I was thinking this was a trick. And he was thinking, for example, I could not complete any task. Yes, I trying to help people, and a lot of my people already achieve their goals, but I couldn't. And I told him, I don't know, I was thinking this is like kind of strategy. What do you want? And he told me, I want to build a house. And I said to him, it would be 1 floor or 2 floor. He was saying 2 floor. No, I already had a flat with 2 floors, never built 2 floors. Second, how many rooms do you want to have? In Russia, we're not telling how many bedrooms, or we are telling just rooms. And he was thinking, maybe 3. I was telling, yes, but you will need for your car, for your kitchen, for your visitors, and so on. And suddenly he was thinking, okay, I need 12, and so on. How many square meters you should have in your house? He was calculating and suddenly realized like 200. Okay. Do you need a special place for barbecue? Do you need something like a swimming pool? Would you grow some veg and fruits, and so on? And suddenly it was an alarm. So this session was finished, and I have no result. But on the next day, suddenly this guy came to me, hug with a very pressure, and put some words in my ear. I already wrote as him. I will show you it in a break. I forget this, and suddenly, after starting of our break, of eating time, this coach grasped me, yes, схватил меня,
Grabs.
grabs, yes, correct, grabs me and put in some dark corner, and he suddenly takes some paper from his pocket, and it was a drawing, and he told me, I even know which kind of color of roof I want. So I decided, oh, now maybe he will create his house. And after 6 or 7 months, he already built this house, and we were visiting this house, and we all were so happy that we are even burned his sauna. То есть у него сауна сгорела, так мы праздновали.
Well, this is a very nice story about the goal settings in the organizations and actually seeing the outcomes. But when it comes to different levels, like a different, I would say, like types or like a grades of the this self-organization, obviously, like we could start with something simple and end up with something which would be almost at robotic level. So what are they like? What is the world of the self-organization?
First, you should understand that you have not too much time. You have time limit. Second, you should understand that after several years, you would not remember some things like shoes you wear, or maybe your jeans or t-shirt. Third, you should remember that after several years, some of your member of your fellowship, is it correct to say fellowship?
Yes,
Fellowship will achieve some goals, and maybe they will be ahead or behind you. And after this, you should ask yourself a question. How would change your life in 5 years or so on? For example, I was building my life, you will laugh, in 1983. I was 10 years old, and I was trying to build my life for 27 years. Why? Because it was a millennium. This was year 2000. And when I was thinking, I was just not able to understand which mark I would have in the school, where I will learn in the university or institute, whom I will work. But the more you think about this, like 3 or 5 months, suddenly you will understand doesn't matter. You could be a programmer, you could be I forgot the Carpenter, плотник.
Carpenter.
Carpenter, you could be a manager, you could be a waiter or something else. It doesn't matter. You could spend, you could save, you could live, you could have a wishes. If you have a wishes, they will become your goal. For example, when I was on the geography lesson, I just hear that on the earth 200 or something countries, and suddenly I was pronouncing I will visit all of them. But my teacher, he was angry. He was very old, like 70 years, and he taught me like это мальчишеские мечты. This is childish dreams. But it's a pity. When I completed this task, he was already dead. So, but you know, when you are trying to visit all countries, yes, you could put this on Excel sheet, but it doesn't work. Never use a list. Use something from the real world. If you will use just контурные карты,
just the maps.
Just the maps, you will find that some countries has 3 borders. For example, 3 countries have the same corner, and you, for example, could come to one country and then visit 2 more with truck, with bus, with ship, with balloon, воздушный шар.
Balloon, yeah.
Balloon or something like this.
And actually, since we're touching on this area, like how you get self-organized, obviously, you know, like you need to store it somewhere. As you mentioned, it might be or may not be a spreadsheet. It might be like a piece of paper. It might be maybe like even some mental constructions, or I don't know, you could have some like imaginative items. How to make sure that whatever you're thinking about, like you can fit it in your head or on any other asset, so that when you need to have like a compass or when you need to assess it or change it, you have it accessible. It's clear to understand, it's clear to adjust, and it's clear to, you know, like use in your life.
Maybe I'm wrong. Please correct me. If I'm not wrong, the Captain Jack Sparrow possessed a compass which showed by the north arrow to place he wished to go. Is it correct?
This is correct.
I don't know what's happened before and after, but I remember this case. I will explain. For very first time, when I got some $1 million with my contract from Intel, I was bought a villa on Cyprus. I was a small plane, and I was trying to buy a restaurant on Mediterranean Sea or dive center. But after some time, I understand I don't want to spend so much time on Cyprus. I suddenly realized that if I would buy some dive center on Canarian Island, it wouldn't give me a profit. And suddenly I realized I just lose the money, so I don't want it. And one more example. I was thinking which car to buy. I could buy Lamborghini, I could buy Ferrari, and I could buy anything. But suddenly I heard that in Cancun city, there is a company, Exotic Riders, and they will allow you to have several cars for test drive, like $500 per 20 or 30 minutes. And I come there, and on the road, Cancun, Kulun, you could be guided by special speed runner. I don't know, is it correct to say гонщик? Speed runner. And we were taking several cars. First, it was for sure Lamborghini. It was a yellow, very strange color, but suddenly I realized the car isn't comfort. And I was happy. Okay, I wouldn't spend so much money. Then I put myself in a Ferrari. It is much, much cheaper. And I was found that everyone was looking at me. It was completely red and глянцевый.
Glossy.
And glossy. And I was so happy. Everyone was looking at me. I was already a buyer of Ferrari. But the last car was, I don't know how to say it exactly, but there are some pictures in internet. It was Mercedes, I think CLK with wing doors. It was the cheapest one. And I even do not want to test. But when I sit in the chair, when I start to accelerate, suddenly I realize this is my car. So my first wish to buy a very expensive car about prices. But then I realized that I want another car to be comfortable with. The same with food. If you have enough money, you will go to buy red caviar and crystal champagne. But suddenly you will find that to eat with your mother, her style prepared smashed potato with onion and herring. Yes, сельдь.
Herring.
Herring is much tastier. So test everything, list everything, and you will understand that you don't need something very specific like gold plates, like villas, like even U-boats.
So I guess, yes, for some of the things, even before like go ahead for full speed, you at least need to do some sort of like a trial, or maybe like a couple of trials to define whether it's yours or whether it's not yours completely. Now, if you go to the tactical level, obviously, like we need to be self-organized on a daily basis. So how do we go about this? Like what kind of habits or what kind of principles or what kind of mechanics or any other routine or like a mindset or even the discipline we need to have in order to follow up what exactly we decided to do in the long term?
I am expecting a lot of help from you. First, you should understand principle of bulk, куча.
Heap.
Heap. For example, there is a small weed you will put on the table. This is not a heap. But after several weeds, I don't know, maybe 100, maybe 1000, you will have a heap. So you will never understand when you achieve a goal. For example, if I was trying to visit all the countries, 50, is it enough? 100, is it enough? After, I don't know exactly, I couldn't remember, but after 70 countries, suddenly I realized all are the same. All are the same. No new food, no new imagination, no new buildings. It was complete disaster for me. Suddenly I realized I don't want to continue. I don't want to go on, but I finished this first. So principle of heap. Second, you will meet the people who are much successful than you. For example, you will be having like 1 mio, but someone will have like 10 mio, and you couldn't do so. So this is not good to compare with somebody, and it is also not good to compare even with yourself, because if, for example, you have something like missile attack on your house and you lose your business, you are lucky that you are alive. So you are not thinking about money. And one more. Just you could realize how successful you are. This is not about criteria, it's about happiness. And you are a young man and maybe you wouldn't believe. I just ask you to remember, the older you will get, the more happier you will be. When you are young, you want to be loved by girls. You want to have something very specific and fancy that you will see yourself as a successful man. After I got 10 millions US dollars, I suddenly realized I don't want to wear watches. I could buy any of it, but why should I? So suddenly you will understand that you could live without any hard look things.
And I guess my last question will be how know about self-organization could help to make this world a better place?
There are a lot of people who are thinking that they are very specific, and I like the picture. Maybe I already mentioned it. There is a big wall created from with bricks, and one brick is written, "I am very specific." So any brick could think that they are very specific. But if you will step aside and see 100 or 1000 or 1 million or 1 billion bricks, you will find all are the same. The worst nightmare for me when someone is saying that you are usual. Never be usual, and you will create something.
Не будьте обычным, а мы рассмотрели навык самоорганизация и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!